From the East and the West, you've heard others, but now you've tuned into the best. This is a Prime Wave Media production, the NFL Bet Exchange, hosted by my man, Pop DiBiase, the primetime capper, and the Don of Cape Cod, Jeff Dawson.
All right, we are back with the NFL Bet Exchange with the one and only Pop DiBiase, the primetime capper, and the man himself, the Don of Cape Cod, Mr. Jeff Dawson, back from his beautiful vacation of going through the Caribbean. How you doing today, sir?
I'm glad to be back. The trip was amazing. We hit up Coco Cay, Dominican Republic, St. Thomas, ended in Puerto Rico. Obviously got some sun, but it's just good to be back home in the studio, back where I belong with you on Tuesdays. We only got 7 weeks left of 2022, and we're on to 2023. I mean, busy time in our lanes. College hoops started last night with like 100 games, which was crazy. But I'm glad to be back and, talking some NFL.
Well, I would want to say it was 200 games last night. Unbelievable. I think every single team played in the NCAA last night. And it's still 10 games today, though, Jeff. So that's good. Even though it's vote day, the NBA took the day off. But the NFA, college football tonight as well, too. So that works out as well. So it's all college today, Jeff. The pros said we got to take the day off. And they literally want to put us bettors on the sideline because they know we don't care about nothing but these damn games. You know, they want us talking about the bets for the vote and stuff for who's gonna get the job to do something. I'm not gonna say do nothing because I don't want folks to get canceled or anything like that. I know it's a very important day for people, but let's talk about last week, Jeff, real quick. Week 9 results. I went 7-6 in the 13 games we had last week, and then Jeff went ahead and went 10-3 last week. He was absolutely incredible last week. Jeff had a very, very good week. I had a very good start to the day, and then things kind of went to the left. But Jeff was on fire last weekend. Jeff is 64-44 on the year, as I'm 59-46. That's just all plus money right there, man. And I said, let's go ahead and look at the guys from the other shows and see if they got these type of numbers, Jeff.
It's crazy. As we know, it's a week-to-week process here. Anytime you're in the plus, 51.9% is a break even. Anything over that is a profit. A crazy week in the NFL, and we're at the halfway point, just past. Nice to see what happens this week with a few teams coming off the bye. Undefeated Philly, waiting for the prognosis on Josh Allen, obviously, which would be a big hole in the NFL and the AFC side. Some crazy stories this year. Last year was the Bengals. This year, look at the Jets. They knocked off the Bills. Brady and the Bucks staying alive, and the Packers. We've been waiting for that regression. Rodgers is just not focused. He's not engaged. It is what it is, but it's on to week 10, my brother.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And since it's on to week 10, let's talk about the first game of the week. It's a divisional game between the Falcons and the Panthers. You got the Falcons team coming in here 4-5. You got the Panthers 2-7. And they played a thriller a few weeks ago in Atlanta. And I know that a lot of people will go into this one with the idea that Atlanta should be able to bounce back. Atlanta's coming fresh off of a loss. And it was a close loss as well, too. But we all know that Atlanta is probably one of the teams that when they're favored, they are a team that you really want to stay away from, in my opinion. Now, I'm looking at how their schedule is set up right now. They have a few weeks before the bye. Their bye is on week 14. So they're trying to they're still trying to catch a little bit of wind as they try to hold off the Buccaneers, which is probably not going to happen. But when you look at their next 4 games, they do have a very winnable spots. And this is one of them here in Carolina. But I truly do think that, you have a team in the Falcons who have not been able to put together 2 wins in a row since weeks 3 and 4. And they are a team that win one, lose one, win one, lose one. And I think that they really got out the skin of their teeth, both of these they had very close games these last few weeks. And I think that when you look at it, you have a team in Carolina that's going through a little bit of a disarray. They got Sam Darnold getting activated. It seems like they're avoiding Baker at this moment in time, too, to put him back in the game. But I keep telling myself, after what happened last week, losing 21-42, after losing by 3 the week before, they really got beat up by a really good team. But it seems like when they play teams within their division, they have a shot. They 2-1 against the division. Their only loss was to Atlanta. So I think that they even it up here, Jeff. I like the Panthers with the money line plus 125. Your thoughts?
Yeah, the rematch usually never lives up to the first game. We bought the hook here. We took the Panthers to 3.5 in case it landed to 3, minus the 120. It sounded like early this week that they were going to stick with PJ Walker. Atlanta, again, both teams, I don't want to say going through the motions. It's a division where, listen, if Tom doesn't get that final drive, it's a division that's wide open. Now the Bucs are back alive. Maybe Brady and them get moving. Two teams here. A tough call. I'm taking the points. I wouldn't be shocked if Atlanta, blows them. Wins by 7. But I think the points in a premium. I like where your eyes are on the money line here. We just went the safer route here, but I do lean the Panthers here.
All right. So let's go ahead and move on to our next game, and that's going to be this one. It's going to be the Buccaneers and the Seahawks, and they're going to be in Germany for this one. And you got Petey Boy going against Tommy Brady, and a lot of people getting excited about Geno Smith right now, MVP considerations as well too. But let me go ahead and just do my league Corso. Wait a minute, hold up. Okay, let's keep it real. If Russell Wilson still had Lockett and Metcalf, nobody would be complaining about anything Russ is doing right now. So I would say that those two receivers are golden. I think Locke would have probably did well in this system, but Geno Smith is a guy that was able to play behind Russell Wilson for a number of years, and he was able to be in that quarterback's room as well too. And you know what? When a team doesn't give up on you, that's usually bodes a lot of confidence in you. But Geno's just a guy who just knows what the hell he's doing. They've won their last 5 out of 6, including their last 4 in a row after starting the season 1-2. You know what I mean? And they just been on the money, but they didn't expect their division to be this weak this year either. The Rams aren't good, the Cardinals aren't good, and San Francisco is good, but they're a little middling in my opinion as well too. But they should be even better as the second half of the season goes along. And I think that if they still had Trey Lance in there, they wouldn't be. I don't think they would be 4-4, Jeff. To be honest with you, I think Jimmy G is the difference of making them move forward right now, even though they feel the other quarterback is much better. But Seattle's hot. It's tough to go against Seattle here, but we all know Tom is, after losing 3 in a row, Tom is ready to get a second in a row for the second time this season, because that's crazy. The Buccaneers have only had 1 point in the season where they had 2 wins in a row. And I think that what happens here is that this is a pageantry game, and pageantry games usually go in the favor of the legend. And that's why I like the Bucs in this spot with the minus 145 money line. Even though I've been loving Seattle for the last few weeks, I've been all over them in each game except for last week. And it's just this week they get upended.
I had the Bucks money line last week. Again, Tom stops the bleeding. Now they go to Germany here. The number is over a 44. Initial thoughts is, the old 24-20, 24-21. I, like you, followed up with the money line. Take the points out of play. Listen, I've been going against the Seattle team for a while now, waiting for the other shoe to fall off with the Geno train. He definitely is, as I talked about the Jets, Geno and Pete Carroll, as much as I wanted to move them off the pasture, is an incredible story. Hats off to him. They bring in Drew Lock, they trade Russell Wilson, but here they are 6-3 and move it. You're supposed to be following the train. Listen, would I be shocked if they won? No, I wouldn't. But I'm going with Brady and the bunch here to win, to get their second in a row, try to separate themselves in the division. I think the defense will be key here. Maybe a pick six by the Bucs D. Look for Brady and company in Germany to win the game.
There it is. So we are in consensus that it's the Bucs here. So let's see how it goes. Let's see how it shakes out. Let's move on to our next game, which is possibly the game of the week. You have a 7-1 Vikings team. Yeah, I'm gonna say it again. 7-1 Vikings team going against a 6-2 Bills team. We expect the Bills to be this good, but did we expect the Vikings to be this good? You know what I mean? And the Vikings coming in here winners of their last 6 in a row as well, too. After getting embarrassed by the Eagles on Monday Night Football week 2, this team has just been really, really consistent. You know what I mean? I won't say that they've been perfect, but they've been very consistent. You know what I mean? And it seems like they find themselves in a lot of close games. They have not blown out anybody this season except for Green Bay opening day. Everybody else has been a 4-point victory, a 3-point victory, 7-point victory, 8-point victory, 8-point victory, 3-point victory. So everything's in single digits. So that goes to show you the grit and determination of this team. These were games that the Vikings have been losing for the last 2 years, where games are just so close, but they come up short. But this time around, they're not coming up short. But you can look at the schedule and say to yourself, who did they play at the end of the day? You know what I mean? Probably the best looking win on this schedule is Miami, but Miami, you didn't have Tua that day. Tua is undefeated this season as Miami's quarterback. So my thing is this. I truly do feel like the Bills, we're all waiting on what's going on with Josh Allen. And the Bills honestly shouldn't have lost that game to Miami, and they shouldn't have lost that game in New York. But these teams do have advanced scouting reports on the Bills, so they know exactly how to attack the Bills. I still say this: if Allen doesn't have to sit out for a while, if he's still good to go for the year, they should really run the table. To be honest with you, they should run the table. Only game I see right now for the Bills that's an issue is probably Cincinnati if they don't have Josh Allen issues. And everybody else, and then you have New England. But New England, to me, it's more about who you used to be. And I know a lot of people get excited about New England, but New England is still no. You know what I mean? You know this too, Jeff, and you live up there. You know that Mac Jones and Zappy are only going to be so good for so long. And they really had to rely on that defense. If that defense gets its ass ate up, then they are done. You know that. So pretty much when I look at this game, I say to myself, what are the odds makers thinking? You know what I mean? What are they thinking? Putting the Bills as a 6.5 against a team that's 7-1. Can't do it, Jeff. I got to take the plus 6.5 on the Vikings. Even though I really do like the Bills a lot, I got the Bills picked to win the Super Bowl this year. And Josh Allen, that's my quarterback right there as well, too. But I think that the Bills win the game, but they don't cover.
Well, I'm looking at the line now, and it's already down to 6, and it's dropping. I don't know if that's maybe information leaking out that Josh might not play. A line that opened at 7.5 at Chris, now 7, now 6, and tending to might go to 5.5. I think Josh will find a way to play. Listen, I was on the Minnesota train this year. I've been on the Kirk Cousins for MVP before the season started. I know he's not going to win it. I've been saying it tongue-in-cheek and jokingly. A very good team. Cousins can play. His only loss was at Philly. Good first half. They get beat in the second half. I think the same thing's going to happen here. This probably will be Minnesota's second loss. I don't think the Bills will lose 2 in a row. I took them minus the 6, bought the hook if in case you had 6.5. I think they got caught peeking last week at the Jets. Salas should be coach of the year as we talk. This Jets team has been phenomenal. This year's Cincinnati Bengals, the way I look at it, I like the Bills to rebound. I took them to circle the wagons, and I think the Bills minus 6 is my play here, Pops.
All right. And there it is. Jeff stacking the Bills by a touchdown. So let's see how it goes, see how it shakes out. All right, we move forward and let's go ahead and jump into a good divisional matchup with the okay. Hold on. I'm waiting for it to switch. There it is. There it's not. There it's not. There it is. So we have the Lions and the Bears. And last week, Justin Fields came to life somewhat. Everybody started seeing the fantasy potential in him, but the Bears fans, they're excusing things because they knew that they were set up for failure. So you got a team that's lost their last 5 out of 6 after starting the season 2-1. They're going against the Detroit team coming fresh off their best win of the season against Green Bay. It's always a good win for them when they beat Green Bay because it's so rare nowadays beating Green Bay for them. And the Bears last week, the Bears have been a much better offense after we all had our doubts about Mr. Fields. They were able to get 33, 29, and 32 over the last 3 weeks. And this was after an awful performance on Thursday Night Football against Washington. So you have a guy in Fields who's actually just killing it right now. He's not killing it in the passing game, but he has 602 yards this year and 4 touchdowns. So this is a bit of improvement. It reminds me a lot of Vince Young when he started to get it. You know what I mean? But I don't think that he'll be able to push his team to the playoffs like Vince did. You know what I mean? Because Vince, I don't care what anybody says, Vince Young probably had the most insane rookie season, exciting every single week. The games coming down to the last 2 minutes, all this stuff, because there were so many comebacks that Vince made. And it was just like, whoa, this guy is crazy with it. You know what I mean? So, I feel like Justin Fields is leading this team in the right direction, but there's still so much more that the Bears need. Now, the Lions, on the other hand, the Lions are a team that has struggled, and we knew that they were going to struggle. They had lost 5 in a row before winning last week. Now they go to Chicago with some confidence because possibly they'll be getting back, their stars, possibly getting back DeAndre Swift. Shout out to Jamal Williams for and I had him on the bench this week, Jeff, and he has 8 touchdowns on the season, but I knew he was probably going to have not that great of a game, even though he still scored like 11 points. But Etienne, that's all I can say. Etienne was great for me. But I look at this one, and this game is a very, very 50-50 game, but I still feel like the Bears did enough last week to show me that they can go ahead and have a great game in this spot because just the Lions defense isn't that good. Aaron Rodgers just was awful last week, and I just think that this is the type of game where, Fields can get really busy in because you have they took advantage of a very good Dolphins defense. The Dolphins are really good on defense. They gave up 40 a few weeks back to the Jets, but other than that, they've been pretty consistent. And last week, they just couldn't do anything with the Bears, but they just outlasted them. I think that what happens this week after a big blowout that they had in New England, they'll probably duplicate that same type of game here against the Lions. That's why I like the Bears with the minus 155. Jeff, your thoughts?
Well, Justin Fields' coming out party was 2 Mondays ago against the Pats, and then he duplicated. If there was ever the loss of the year, it definitely was for the Bears and Justin. Great showing there. But with that being said, I'm not going to say this and expect them to duplicate it. You talked about Vince. I'm going to say he's kind of starting to emulate Jalen Hurts last year. Again, think and run before pass. And what did Jalen do? He's made the next step this year because they added A.J. Brown. They got now A.J. Brown with Devontae Smith, with Goddard, and they have a good defense. What did the Bears do for Justin? Well, they traded Allen Robinson. All right, he has a young tight end with Komet. He has a young wide receiver with Mooney, but he needs better wide receivers. He needs a offensive line where he can think pass first, than runs. So I'm going total contrarian here. I'm going to take the Lions plus the 135. If you want to wait and grab them plus 3 or 3.5, please do. I think the line opened up at 2.5 for the public to grab it to 3 to 3.5. Looking at what Justin has done the last 3 weeks, I think it'll be a great game. The under over's at 48 and going up. I think it'll be a shootout. Maybe who has the ball last. Maybe Swift won't be on a pitch count. We're going to take the points or the money line here and expect the Lions. It's going to be a great, great game and fun to watch. But we're going to take the dog here, Pops, and the Lions on the money line.
All right, so he's on the dog. I'm on the favorite. Let's see how it goes. Divisional matchup. It should be a good one. So with that, we're going to go ahead and take a quick commercial break, and when we'll get back, we'll jump into the next portion of Sunday's schedule. So you guys stay tuned. This is the NFL Bet Exchange.
Good News Only Racing Club, led by the legendary Doug O'Neill, the trainer of 2 Kentucky Derby winners and I'll Have Another and Nyquist. Also trained 2-time Breeders' Cup champ Golden Sense, who are just a part of a long list of thoroughbred champions trained by Doug O'Neill. The Good News Only Racing Club has a young core of horses to look out for in Dennis's Celery, Irish Heatwave, and Notre Dame, just to name a few. Win the day every day with the Good News Only Racing Club, a proud sponsor of the NFL Bet Exchange.
From the East and the West, you've heard others, but now you've tuned into the best. This is a Prime Wave Media production.
Tune into Big Wave Boxing every week with a brand new guest with the one and only Pop DiBiase, the Primetime Capper, getting the best boxing stories, best boxing angles, and the truth when it all comes down to the sweet science. Tune in to Big Wave Boxing on the Prime Wave Media channel on YouTube.
All right, we got Broncos and Titans 3-5 to the Broncos and 5-3 to the Titans right now. You have two teams that are playing not to their expectations. You thought the Broncos would be a bit better right now because they had Russell Wilson, and that was supposed to be the improvement for that killer defense that they have there in Denver, but that wasn't the case. You thought Ryan Tannehill was going to be pretty good this year. He hasn't been that great, but the defense of the Titans has been great, and the coaching of Variable has been great as well too. And they still got Derrick Henry. So, you got a team that in the Broncos who lost 4 in a row and just wound up getting a win over in Europe and getting a week off as well too after the fact. And then you have a Titans team that comes in here, and they were winners of 5 straight and could have won 6 straight. Couple mistakes there against the Chiefs, but it's all good, right? So I look at this one and say to myself, Russell Wilson has had his issues with the Titans in the past. You know what I mean? When he was in Seattle, we all remember that was a big game a few years ago, big dog game where Tennessee went in there and absolutely crushed the Seahawks. So, they kind of punked Russell Wilson that day, and they still got a lot of those same guys on the defense. Now, I think the Broncos might have found something in England, but we'll have to see this week. You know what I mean, Jeff? We'll have to really see what this team is about. The Titans, to me, are the biggest enigma in the league, but I think I can trust them a bit more than I can trust the Broncos in this spot. I just think that Russell Wilson is going to win them 7 to 8 games this year, but it's going to be later in the year when it doesn't matter. So I do like the Titans a lot here with the minus 150.
I just think this number is low. I'm playing contrarian again. First of all, hats off to the Titans last Sunday night. They played their butts off. Really shut down a high-powered offense in Kansas City. Henry was Henry. No first downs the second half. I mean, listen, I think Malik has an opportunity at some point in his career to be where the NFL has gone. I mean, mobile quarterbacks, and he's obviously not ready. Maybe this line is low for that reason. Maybe Tannehill's out again. Like Rodgers, like Brady, like Russ, we're waiting for them to finally turn the page. And as you said, maybe last week in London was it the spot. I grabbed the points here. We bought the hook to them plus 3.5. They're going to have to stop Henry and hope the passing game doesn't beat them here. Maybe Russ wakes up. Maybe the offense wakes up. I think this is one of the lowest totals on the game, and it's at a 38 right now, maybe 39 in some shops. We took the points, maybe a 21-20 game, 23-21 game. Maybe they steal it. I don't know, but we bought the hook and hope it lands 3 or less, Pops.
All right. Okay, so there it is. Jeff is on the Broncos with the plus 3.5, and we move forward to our next game, which is going to be the Jags and the Chiefs. The Jags coming off of a very, very fun win for them and a terrible loss for the Raiders. The Raiders literally had the game. Looked like it was going to be a big blowout by the Raiders, and the Raiders literally just went ahead and did what the Raiders do. They just went ahead and just lost the game. It was Raiders, be better, man. That's all I can say, man. We'll talk about them in a minute, but that was just that one was sad, to be honest with you, Jeff. So the Raiders, y'all got to get together, man, because that was sad. I'm sorry. That was super sad. But I think this week the Chiefs are relishing the fact that they get to play against a team like the Jaguars here because they've had it tough the last few weeks. You know what I mean? And now they get to play against a team that they can probably have their way with. And I know that this is going to be a monster over bet. I can see it now, Jeff. 85% of the action will probably go on the Chiefs this week. But you know what? I'll be a part of that 85% because I got to take that 9.5, bro. I just, after how the Raiders started last week, I can see the Chiefs starting like that. And last time they played, the Chiefs absolutely eviscerated the Jaguars. It was opening day, to be exact. So I do like the Chiefs here, and I think the Chiefs win this game by 2 touchdowns.
Number opened at 9.5, still 9.5s across the board. The Chiefs sleptwalk. You wait for them to explode. Maybe the Josh Allen news will wake them up. The potential, if Josh is out for a while, that number 1 seed's wide open again. And the Chiefs a tough place to play. But they lost last year to Joe and company. But I too follow that 9.5. I think they win by double digits. High total opened at 50. I'm seeing 50.5 right now, trending to 51. I think it's early and often for the Chiefs. I think that for the defense, just slow down ETN. Don't let him get off. Make Trevor Lawrence throw a few picks that he's been doing of late. And I think the Chiefs put up 30 plus this week.
All right. I think they're going for a 40 burger for the 3rd time this year. They said it wasn't nobody scoring in the NFL, but they've done 40 twice, and they've done 30 a few times this year. So they're still scoring. But I do like the fact that the NFL isn't having these absurd scores every week where teams are 28-24, and they literally – and their offense isn't that good. You know what I mean? It's no more – I think a lot of times the defense just isn't giving away the junk anymore. Unless it was last night with like the Ravens, boy, oh boy, everybody on that team got to get I said, it don't matter. They won the game by 14. They are going to get reamed in the film room. They are going to get, man, coach will bring that back 15 times. You know what I mean? And, it was and Marcus Peters was literally crying on the sideline last night about it. Like he was boo-hooing. You know what I mean? Like a kid that, he knows he messed up, but he just won't be accountable for it. That's why Marcus Peters went from being one of the more higher paid players to the league to literally being a backdoor pickup for the Ravens. You know what I mean? You got to have a better attitude in this league sometimes, man, because teams notice these things. So Marcus Peters, that's why we don't hear much about him anymore. But, last night was not good. If they were thinking about cutting him this week, I wouldn't be surprised. I swear, I've never seen guys stop playing and start pointing to the sideline. Bro, you have to keep playing. What are you doing? You know what I mean? The referee, you're not the ref. Do your job. You know, as bad as LeBron thinking he's a general manager. You know what I mean? Come on, do your job, athlete. You know, you guys know you don't go to class. Stop thinking you smart. All right, so let's go ahead and jump into the Texans and the Giants. The Texans and the Giants. This one should be a lot of fun because you have a Texans team that's 1-6-1, and you got a Giants team that's 6-2, and the Giants coming here. Literally, it's like the Giants are trying their best not to have this great of a season, but they run into the Texans, and once again, this will probably be 78% of the action on the Giants this week because nobody believes in anything the Texans are doing anymore. But the Texans played very well against the Eagles last week, in my opinion. You know what I mean? Losing the way they did to the Eagles, they were in that game. You know what I mean? They kind of made the Eagles sweat a little bit for a while, but the Eagles were able to right the storm and beat them. The Giants are going to have some issues with the Texans because the Texans play really good defense, and the Giants seem to not. The Giants seem to just keep having gutsy wins, and when your team keeps having gutsy wins, this is where upsets like this happen. But it might. I don't think the Texans probably win the game, but they got a strong possibility of winning the game. If I was a better on Sunday, I would put them in a dog day pick four just for fun. You know what I mean? Just because this feels like an upset week for real, Jeff. A lot of teams coming off the bye, and when teams are coming off the bye, those are tricky spots. So I got to take the Texans with the +6.5, brother. Even though Brandon Cooks is out for the rest of the year, I think.
No, I agree with you. A line that smells to high heaven, a team coming off a bye, a 2-loss Giants team versus a 1-6-1 Texans team. We bought the hook here. We took the Texans to +7. Again, like me going against Gino and the Seahawks, I'm doing the same with the Giants. I'm going against them, waiting for the other shoe to fall. I think the Giants find a way to win. I think the Texans play a tough game here. I think that they can stay competitive. It's a low under-over of right around 40, maybe a 41 out there. 24-17, 24-23, somewhere, actually even less than that, maybe a 23-17 game or something. So I like the Texans +7. And I too think it could be an upset alert here. So keep an eye on that one.
And Jeff, you know what I'm saying is because the Giants are due to lose 5 in a row. We know this. At the end of the day, the Jets are due to lose 5 in a row too. You know what I mean? It's just like, why y'all doing so much winning this year? Like, seriously, like this was not a part of the plan at all. But the Jets, I had a feeling about them when I was at the draft. They had a lot of good things going on, and a lot of people were excited about being on the Jets. And I was like, wow, why are these people excited about being on the Jets? Why? And then you look at Salah, and Salah is just a great coach, man. Why wouldn't you want to play for a guy like that? You know what I mean? He looks like he can go ahead and do many more things than just be your head coach. You know what I mean? It's like Salah, he looks like your gym instructor. He looks like the guy who runs the gym. He looks like the guy who runs the Amazon portal. You know what I mean? He's just a leader. You know what I mean? Like at the end of the day. So he does not look like an NFL head coach at all because he's bald headed. And he's not and he's not in his 50s yet. So, it is what it is. All right, we move on. Let's go ahead and jump into our next game, which is going to be Saints at the Steelers. And I know Jeff is excited about this one. Saints at Steelers, huh? This really moves the needle, doesn't it, Jeff? Actually, you know what? We are on break, so we will go ahead and take another quick break. We'll get to Steelers Saints when we get back because I know I just did 4 games. I know I just did 4, didn't I?
You did 3, Pops. That was the 4th.
I did 3. Okay, now let me get it right. We got Steelers and Saints, and pretty much, I don't know, man. I might be getting a little bit of the early dementia. So we got the Saints 3-6. We got the Steelers 2-6. We got Steelers actually as the favorite in this game. They're not the favorite, but they could be if things kind of. If betting just gets a little silly, but right now they are the favorite, and I think that when we get to the kickoff, Jeff, there'll be a pick 'em. To be honest with you, so to be the way that the Saints play defense, even though they didn't play good defense last night, but they did get kind of beat with some trick plays. They've lost their last 3 out of 5. Okay. And they really are not playing up to the potential you felt they could this year. And I truly do think that this could be the first time all season where they don't lose consecutive games after they win. Okay, because I'm looking at it now, they got to win the first game of the season, lost 3 in a row. Then got to win, lost 2 in a row. Then got to win and lost last week. So you see the trend, right, Jeff? It's like trending for a 5-win season for the Saints, and you didn't see a 5-win season coming for the Saints. I think when you look at it now, they got the Steelers, the Rams, the Niners, and Tampa Bay, then a bye. I think they can possibly go 2-2 in this group. You know what I mean? And I think it starts with the Steelers. The Steelers just don't give me anything, Jeff. They just don't at the end of the day. They just give me the vibe that they're just going along with the motions, getting ready for their quarterback. I don't think Tomlin's in danger of losing his job because Tomlin is a great leader of men. And the Rooneys just don't roll like that. There was no sense of urgency from the top of the season about Pittsburgh being really good. But I know Pittsburgh does like to have the aura consistency because they haven't been this bad looking in a long time. And this is a team that just was recently, 11-0 to start off a season a few years back. And now they're 2-6. So I just think that they're headed towards the first pick in the draft, to be honest with you. I really do think the Steelers, they're not the worst team in the league. It's just that the offense is that dreadful. So I got to take the Saints minus 145. Jeff, your thoughts?
I've been doing contrarian this whole segment for the most part, other than the Chiefs. I'm going to stick to it. I grabbed the money line plus the 125. If you want to wait and take the Steelers plus the 3 or buy the hook to 3.5. Interesting to see what they look like again coming off a bye. I believe in Tomlin. We'll see what Pickett looks like. Pickett to Pickens, maybe. Maybe a rejuvenated Najee Harris. I think defensively they'll be able to slow down. Dalton looked awful. Ravens, a lot of blitz on Monday night. Just pressure on them. Kind of surprised they didn't get Kamara into space or at least some dump-off passes. So I like the Steelers here in a bounce back with a short week here with the Saints. They got to go travel now to Pittsburgh. Let's see what Tomlin's got up his sleeve. I like them to cover at the 3.5, whatever you're getting. But I think they win this game outright. A low-scoring affair. I'm going to look at the score right now. 40.5 right now. Nice little 21-20 Steelers outright win, Pops.
All right. Let's see how it goes, see how it shakes out. So it should be a good one. It's a 50-50 game. Regardless of what I'm talking about, it's a 50-50 game. You know what I mean? You can take either side and you're good. You know what I mean? But sometimes these are the mush plays because when whoever says it's a free, if somebody says Steelers is a free play on Sunday, then you in trouble. But really, it would be Saints are the free play. I swear a dude did that to the Raiders a few weeks back in the Saints game. Like, this is a non-loser, but book it now. I said, did he know that their head coach was the Raiders' old head coach that got fired in the middle of the season, and he was the guy that was the coach in charge when they drafted Carr and Mack, and if possibly if he was still there, the Raiders might be the landlord of the AFC West because they just built things. So, that shutout was inevitable for the Raiders. You know what I mean? That coach wouldn't study them he studied them the last 3 weeks before they even played in that game. So, it is what it is, man. All right, so we move on and let's talk about Browns at Dolphins. Browns and Dolphins had one of the greatest trades in NFL history. What's going on?
You want to go to your second commercial?
Oh yeah, we're gonna go first. Let's go to commercial though. You know what I mean? Jeff threw up the producer hands, and so let's go ahead and get to the commercial real quick, and when we get back, we'll jump into some more football. So you guys stay tuned. This is the NFL Bet Exchange.
Now you and your friends can compete in the sport of kings and win big with Stable Duel. Get the app, pick your horses, and get in on the thrill of horse racing with daily games competing against other players. Bring home the glory and the cash. and move up the annual leaderboard while you leave your competition in the dust. Get in the game with Stable Duel. Play, race, win.
Good News Only Racing Club, led by the legendary Doug O'Neill, the trainer of 2 Kentucky Derby winners and I'll Have Another and Nyquist. Also trained 2-time Breeders' Cup champ Golden Sense, who are just a part of a long list of thoroughbred champions trained by Doug O'Neill. The Good News Only Racing Club has a young core of horses to look out for in Dennis's Celery, Irish Heatwave, and Notre Dame, just to name a few. Win the day every day with the Good News Only Racing Club, a proud sponsor of the NFL Bet Exchange.
All right, we are back with the NFL Bet Exchange, and it is time to get into our next game, and that's going to be the Dolphins at the Browns. And the Browns at the Dolphins. The Browns are 3-5. The Dolphins are 6-2. The Browns coming fresh off of a bye, but the Browns did go ahead and crush up the Bengals. But come on, they beat the Bengals the last 9 out of 10 times, and Joe Burrow is now officially 0-3. Against the Browns, Jeff. 0-3. Well, 0-4 now. I'm sorry. 0-4 now. You know what I mean? The great Joey B. Can't even beat the boys from up north. You know what I mean? So, but I think the Browns do that on purpose. You know what I mean? Because they just be thinking about little brother, big brother. That's the only situation in any sport that really calls for little brother, big brother. Am I right, Jeff? That's the only one where we can say that. Everybody else is just kind of just saying things just to dismiss the other team. But this is truly big brother, little brother. And really, it's sad because it's like the little brother gets everything. Big brother don't get nothing but the scraps. You know what I mean? Big brother ain't got no Super Bowls, but he got a bunch of old championships. Little brother been in three Super Bowls, then had 3 heartbreaks in the Super Bowl. You know what I mean? So, hey, they kind of even each other out, you know what I mean? But they ain't twins or anything like that. But let me talk football, though. Browns, I like the way that they played in that game. And this is the type of game where they can catch the Dolphins slipping, Jeff. Because the Dolphins, are they really that good? Or are they just really that lucky in some of these games? Think about it. Because Tua really had people not believing for a long time. And there's still naysayers with Tua. But let's just say this. Tua is 6-0 this season. But it seems like every game that Tua plays in, they are in a ball game, except for the New England game. But they had to come all the way back against Baltimore. They had to have a slug out with the Bills. Then they go ahead and lose 3 in a row. And those was 2 out of 3 out of double digits. Then they get a lucky win against Pittsburgh on Sunday Night Football. They had to get a pick there at the end. Then they had to hold off Detroit, of all teams. You know what I mean? And then last week, they had to hold off the Bears. The Browns play good enough defense to where they can give Tua some real fits. But then the Browns play bad enough defense to where Tyreek Hill can have a career day as well, too. So there's a lot of things that just the Browns is just when is Deshaun coming? And how is he getting here? You know what I mean? That's the biggest question. But I will say this: Brissett has played well for a guy that was not expected to be the starting quarterback after a few weeks. I think the Browns are honestly starting to make their move, to be honest, because the Browns got the roster. We know this, Jeff. They got the roster. They got the best running game in football. And I think that this running game can be the catalyst for this team to move forward and actually steal a playoff spot here or possibly win a division. Because people got to understand the North is still wide open at the end of the day. Because we know Baltimore is going to run into some bumps in the log, and we know Cincinnati can't be trusted at the end of the day. Cincinnati's good, but Cincinnati be having their moments. The Browns, on the other hand, have had so many games where the games were very close. I think that once they start switching it over to them winning games, just like last week, they can possibly do something. So I like the Browns with the +4. I would take them on the money line, but let's just play it safe here with the +4 because they've been good at covering all season.
Yeah, the number opened at 3.5. The public going to push it to 4. Listen, you talk about luck, and luck is a big part of the NFL or any sport. Tua was doubted all year. You know, they add Tyreek. They got Waddle on one side. Their defense is good, a good young coach. They just find ways to win, and that's what good teams do. And you know, look, I keep talking about this, but look last year with the Bengals, and now look at what's going on this year with the Jets. What's going on with Seattle, the Giants. These teams that we didn't expect to do anything are just finding ways to win. Now this game reeks. Now I'm going to say something about this Browns team. Okay, coming off a bye, off of the win on that Monday night against Burrow, and what's happening in a couple weeks? Deshaun's coming back. So if this team stays afloat and happens to pick off the Dolphins, they're just 2 games under. They'd be 4-6, and Deshaun's just got one more week off, and then technically he's ready to come back. So I took the points with you here. Maybe they're baiting us. I don't know, but I think this is another prime spot where there could be an upset in the making. They're going to South Beach, but it won't be 95-degree, humidity. If they can win the turnover battle, Brissett has kept them in these games. He's just thrown some timely picks late. I think they find a way to cover, and I wouldn't be shocked if they won at South Beach, Pops, at all.
I think that this is one of the better games in the NFL this week. I got 5 games, and this is one of them that I feel that are in the top 5 of, viewing and of outcome as well, too. Like, we're at the point now where when you start moving in week 10, team seasons get different. If you were really great the first 8 weeks of the season, 9 weeks of the season, you might not be that good here come November and December. You know what I mean? Because injuries start piling in, and and then people start not liking each other as well too. You know what I mean? And so things start kind of falling apart. But then you got teams like the Browns where you might have a player coming soon, and things start coming together at the right time. You know what I mean? And that's what I'm seeing, and I think that's what is. But this is the game right here that they know if they're going to be moving forward for real, or this is just going to be something that we're going to be waiting on next season. So that's how I'm feeling in that spot. And let's move on from there. But I love this game, though. Great game. And then let's get to them late games, Jeff. We already at the late games, brother. And that late game is going to be the Colts and the Raiders. The Raiders have been such a headache. Literally, if you are an Oakland person, an LA person, middle of California person, Las Vegas person, these guys are just Raider Nation all across the nation. This is just pathetic at the end of the day. You are up 17-0, 20-3, 20-10 at the half, and you lose to the Jaguars. Come on. Devontae had 146 yards, 9 receptions. I literally won my fantasy game in the first 2 quarters of the NFL the other day, Jeff, because I got 18 to Adams. That's all I needed to win. And Josh Allen's an automatic 25. So that's all I needed. And then Miles Sanders had already gave me 15 on Thursday. So that was good for me for my fantasy, but I want to see the Raiders win the game because the Raiders should be so much better than this. The Raiders should be 6-2, possibly 7-1. The only game they had a problem in was the Saints game. Every other game other than the 2 they've won was very winnable. Tennessee should be a win. Arizona should be a win. It's just, it's like, what's going on here? And it's the same old song. It goes back to the head coach. It goes back to the quarterback. But this is one thing where I'll go ahead and I'll be nice about Derek Carr. The quarterback position is a lot more tougher than it is a tough position to have a very somewhat consistent quarterback in the NFL nowadays. It's okay. Sometimes you just have to deal with the guy because he's going to be good enough to get you on the board. It's that simple because we don't have a lot of really good quarterbacks in the NFL anymore. Yeah, we got about 20 guys that are really good, 20 teams, but really you start breaking them down by tiers. The quarterback play is much better than it was 30 years ago, Jeff. I'll give you that. All right. Because I think we used to have about 3 really exceptional quarterbacks. Then everybody else was kind of just thrown out there. You know what I mean? Now you got at least 15 to 20 where the guys are good, but it still doesn't satisfy to put the fan bases because there can only be one that wins the Super Bowl. I almost said World Series. But it's just awful right now. You know what I mean? That the Raiders cannot finish these games. And the coach is a part of the blame. But at the end of the day, I can't really blame Derek Carr either. This defense is terrible. This defense has no backbone to it. That's the biggest problem to me. They get a little lead, then they get comfortable. I hate defenses that do that. Why did you stop playing the game? Period. So I'm going to go ahead and be more miserable this week because the Colts are right now shooting for the number one spot. The number one spot. You hired Jeff Saturday out the booth from ESPN. Yeah, you don't want to win any game right now. And the way Irsay talked in that meeting, that guy is very delusional right now. Nobody cares about what happened 10 years ago. Peyton Manning has not been on that team for a long time. So when you say that we have the 4th best record in the last 20 years, let's all start laughing together. You know what I mean? It goes back. You look around. Because that's an absolute joke, bro. Like, nobody cares, man. 4th best record in the last 20 years. Man, give me the Raiders all day because y'all are dysfunctional for real. So was Irsay drinking bourbon or was he drinking whiskey before he went into the press conference? Because you know they're notorious for being drunks.
You should pull up the tapes in June, July, August. This guy talked about the area code 617 to the area code now is 702. I told you guys not to hire Josh. I told you. Just because you change your area code, you're still bringing the same person. He's not an NFL head coach. He can't handle the locker room. He can't handle the pressure. He's a good offensive guy. Listen, who wouldn't be with Brady for 2 decades? Okay, the writing was on the wall. He had to get a job. He got a job. And now he's just cashing checks. Same as Darren Waller. What a bum. I said
Let's not start on Mrs. Plum.
I'm telling you right now. You had your head coach. After you fired your coach Gruden, he took your team. He was within a whisper. He had it right there. You had the guy. But you had to make a headline. You had to make a splash. Now you're paying for it. And same with Irsay. He wanted a puppet. He brings in Saturday. You're right. They're playing for C.J. Stroud. For C.J. Stroud. So I bought the half point. I'm taking the Raiders minus 5.5. I want to be miserable with everyone. I will tell you this right now. If I own the Raiders and Jeff Saturday, who's never coached a high school game, never mind a college game, wins on Sunday, Josh McDaniel wouldn't make it to the locker room. I wouldn't allow him in the locker room. And you tell Darren Waller, get your ass on the field. If you don't play, you're not getting a check on Monday. Raiders by double digits.
He'll be okay. He got the face of the city as his girlfriend. She can start paying all his bills as is. She can, Hope Solo all over. Hope Solo and Jeremy Stevens all over again. When you were good. All right, let's move on. Let me stop because I always say I try to be as professional as possible. I'm not trying to rip on the players, but we can rip on Waller because Waller is just annoying because he dropped 2,500 touchdown passes this season, and then all of a sudden your hamstring hurts. As soon as that girl won that title and started taking world tours, you was right there beside her. Starting my leg hurts. So let me move on before I just blow a gasket. All right. This might be the most irrelevant game. This is really truly an old school Rams game to me. You know, when the Rams used to play Anaheim, Jeff. Fourth regional on Fox. No, fourth regional on CBS. How you the fourth regional on CBS and you in LA? You know what I mean? I remember Rams used to play games like this, and the TV people be like, "We definitely not buying this one. All right, we'll just deal with again." And you supposed to be the local team. The Rams have returned to mediocrity, Jeff. Okay, and let me tell you this: they are not getting talked about at all this year, and the Chargers never get talked about in LA that much. You know what I mean? They kind of get talked about, but the Rams' whole thing is, can we get back OBJ? And I'm just like, well, your ideas washed up, he's washed up, and literally you guys have wrecked your team for the next 5 seasons. You don't have top draft picks. You spent up a lot of money on a guy with a bad back, and Donald is worth every penny. But is there a bit of regression? I think the regression is starting soon. You know what I mean? Because he's won a Super Bowl. Where's his passion at? You feel what I'm saying, Jeff? And Cooper Kupp is literally like a play away from his career being over because that guy goes way too hard. So I think that all in all, I'm still going to just punish myself because the Cardinals cannot be trusted. The Cardinals have returned to the old Desert Storm Cardinals. They have returned to the old Frank Cush Stadium Chargers, Cardinals. I'm sorry. And they are back to being irrelevant, even with their great little mighty mouse of a quarterback that just has not been the guy that we know because he hates his coach, Jeff. I told you this for the last 3 years. They don't like that guy, and they're stuck with them because they feel like the guy can do something. You know, you might as well bring back Ken Wisenhunt, your only Super Bowl appearance coach. I can't believe you fire a coach and he took you to a Super Bowl, and you guys never went to that situation. But let me shut up and get to the pick. It's going to be the Rams, and this only reason why I'm doing the Rams, Jeff, is because they own the Cardinals. The Cardinals have not beat this team in 6 years. Okay, they haven't beat them. Well, not 6 years, but they beat them last year in LA. Okay, my bad. What the hell am I talking about? I was at the game. They beat them 34-13. So they're back in LA, but it doesn't have the same lust to it because they were 3-0 coming into that game. This time around, they're 3-6. And who cares who wins the game? The Rams will win the game because the Cardinals have nothing to play for, Jeff. There it is.
You know, Mighty Mouse cost us a couple times this year, and last Sunday on our ECSI VIP action parlay, we're 2-0, and we had needed the Cardinals to win the money line or minus the 2.5, whatever they were favored against Seattle. Cost us 3 parlays at 550, 650, and 750. And it's the third time this year they've cost us. And you know, I know they play better on the road. I know this number stinks to high heaven. A Rams team that just can't, Super Bowl hangover, whatever. They can't run the ball. They couldn't trade Akers. They missed the boat on CMC. It's a lost cause this year. They bring in Allen Robinson, never got him going. It's been, Cooper Kupp in a cloud of dust. And unfortunately, the season's lost. I think it is. Maybe a loss to Arizona loses here. Maybe Kingsbury's out the door, but they gave him an extension. I don't know. As you said, irrelevant and over a 43. First one to 24 wins. I got the Rams here on the money line, Pops.
Man, we in the same boat. So we'll be, we'll like those 2 guys who are going to be in the book for the late games. Just, man, what's going on with this team? The Rams, I swear, what am I doing to myself? You know what I mean? Those guys. And then the 4 Cardinals fans that don't have a ticket, but they're just in the book. They're just in the book. Yeah. I can't stand that, Jeff. Like, you're taking up seats, bro. If you don't have any action on this game, get out now. Watch from a seat in the casino. You can't even hear what the announcers are talking about, bro. That's why they make you pay $200 now to watch an NFL game at a sports book in Vegas on the Strip. Here goes your answer right there, y'all. Because of the people who don't bet. Damn it. But that's what I'm thinking, Jeff. But that's one of my pet peeves, brother, because that was a very consistent thing during March Madness as well too. Just people just in the way. Yeah, I'm a Syracuse fan. What do you got on the game? Nothing. All right, buddy. Then you can watch the game on True TV in your room. Then move out the way. You know what I mean? So let's talk about Packers, Cowboys. Packers, Cowboys. One of the most overrated rivalries in the NFL ever. Let's just keep it real. They only are gonna the Ice Bowl. That's the only thing that they ever gonna get you. That's the only thing that they always want to bring up. Everything is about beating the Cowboys. I'm sorry. Everything is always about the Packers beating the Cowboys. Aaron Rodgers has been an absolute money burner this year. But when has he not been a money burner throughout his career? Jeff, there's only been one run where he was good to us. And that was when they won the Super Bowl and were dogs in half of the games. So, my thing is like this. You have their former coach, Mike McCarthy, on Dallas' side, and they're talking about how he's feeling going back to Green Bay. Who cares? Really, who cares? Because Mike McCarthy still has the most embarrassing fire of all time. They fired you in the tunnel, bro, because you lost to a team and you were a -17, dog. So we are gonna do a little something like this. He's a dog. He's the favorite coming into this game today. I mean, on Sunday. I think what happens here is the same thing that always happens when Aaron Rodgers plays the Cowboys. He's going to go ahead and be their daddy. As usual, as Pedro would say, Jeff, who's your daddy? Aaron Rodgers. And Aaron Rodgers is going to keep being daddy because he's going to be my good news only dog bet of the week. But I'm going to tell you like this. If they lose this game, the Packers are no longer getting picked for the rest of the year. I'm sorry. The Packers have just – the reason why I've lost 44 games this year is because the Packers probably lost 6 of them. I think I've been on every Packer loss this year, Jack. Seriously. I think I only won against them one time this year. And that's just being stupid, dog. Come on, man. Be smarter than that, dog. They telling you they ain't shit. So it is what it is at the end of the day. Plus 180, dog bet of the week on the Packers. Jeff, your thoughts?
No, it's comical because, again, you can tell right away that Aaron's just not engaged and talking about retirement again, and I could have stayed out. Listen, he's making $50 million a year. He's not – listen, I'm sorry. You're going to cash those checks. You're going to go through the motions. It's a number that smells – the big thing about this week is a lot of teams coming off the byes. Some teams don't play well off the byes. This is a game here that you could see some rust early with Dak and company. You could see maybe Rodgers waking up finally and getting out early. Aaron Jones, a question mark. They still got A.J. Dillon. I'm reading now Jerry Jones hyping up the Odell Beckham train. Odell's making his stops. Who's going to pay him the most? Who's going to give him a 2, 3, 4 year extension? Now, Odell would have been your Super Bowl MVP if he did not get hurt. I'm not saying he's not good and he won't help a team. Okay. But in the same token, not a lot of people talking about this Dallas team. I think the 49ers are the team built moving forward to potentially beating Philly. The Phillies just made it to the World Series. Is it the year of Philadelphia? Is Philly and Jalen Hurts going to go box to wire? I don't know. But this Dallas D and Micah Parsons can go a long way in the playoffs. It starts here this weekend in Lambeau Field. Which Dak will show up? Is Zeke still hurt? Is it the Pollard show? Is CeeDee Lamb finally going to wake up? I don't know. I followed your lead. I bought the hook. I got the Packers +6. Custard's last stance. Aaron Rodgers, are you going to be discount double checking or are you checking out? We're on the cheeseheads, Pops.
Let's go, Jeff, because it's one more time. That's all I can say. That's all I can say is one more time. And we're out of here if you guys don't do anything with this one, dog. Seriously, we're out of here. We are out of here. We done with you. We done with you, champ. There's nothing we can do. We done. We done. So, there it is with the Packers. All right, let's go ahead and take one last break, Jeff, and then we'll get into these primetime games, Sunday night and Monday night football. So you guys stay tuned. This is the NFL Bet Exchange with your host, the one and only Pop DiBiase, and the Donna Cape God himself, Mr. Jeff Dawson. We'll be right back.
Now you and your friends can compete in the sport of kings and win big with Stable Duel. Get the app, pick your horses, and get in on the thrill of horse racing with daily games competing against other players. Bring home the glory and the cash and move up the annual leaderboard while you leave your competition in the dust. Get in the game with Stable Duel. Play, race, win.
Good News Only Racing Club, led by the legendary Doug O'Neill, the trainer of 2 Kentucky Derby winners, and I'll have another in Nyquist. Also trained 2-time Breeders' Cup champ Golden Sense, who are just a part of a long list of thoroughbred champions trained by Doug O'Neill. The Good News Only Racing Club has a young core of horses to look out for in Dennis's Celery, Irish Heatwave, and Notre Dame, just to name a few. Win the day every day with the Good News Only Racing Club, a proud sponsor of the NFL Bet Exchange.
All right, we are back, and let's go ahead and jump into our next game, and that's going to be our Sunday night football. Sunday night football, always fun. And pretty much we get the Chargers and the 49ers this week. So for Chargers, 49ers, Jeff, you got the Chargers coming fresh off of a bye, 49ers coming fresh off of a bye. This could be a new rivalry game or something, I guess. LA versus the Bay and San Francisco, and blah 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 blah. No, this would never be a rivalry. Chargers Chargers literally just over here. Really, LA fans really have this idea that they are not wanted in San Diego anymore. It's just I'm just saying, whenever Spanos is ready to sell the team, they're going back to San Diego. That's how I feel. You know what I mean? Well, they got 20. They don't even pay rent. You know what I mean? Like, literally, they having a hard time paying their dollar every month. You know what I mean? So, they're not doing well at the box office either. It's still a situation where you got a lot of opposition. I even think the Jaguars had a good crowd come to LA for a Charger game in that blowout that happened. But I think that this one right here is a oversell of the 49ers. I'm gonna be honest with you, Jeff. I'm not as impressed as the rest of the world. Just because they have McCaffrey, what does that mean? McCaffrey is a play away from the season being over. You know what I mean? Because the guy is still dealing with the guy is awesome, but 4 straight years of top tier play, Jeff, wore him down, in my opinion. You know what I mean? It wore him down as Carolina. And they got him kind of on a bargain situation because you don't really trade a CMC. You know what I mean? If he's that valuable, you know what I mean? Running and passing, and I'm just not impressed with all that. And then you got Jimmy G as the starting quarterback, Mr. Inconsistency himself, but he figures out ways to win because he was a Patriot at the time. So they know how to win, Jeff, because he was a Patriot. All right. So in all honesty, I think that this is an oversell, and you never want to bet against the Chargers when they're a +7 or better, because the Chargers actually are good doggy dog when they're a dog in a spot like this. Do they win? Possibly, but this 7 is a gift, in my opinion, to be honest with you, Jeff, because we all know the Chargers got the better offense, and they do have a defense that can give Jimmy G some real issues. So I love the Chargers in this spot at +7. Jeff, your thoughts?
The more I looked at it, that was a big number. But again, I think the public's going to jump in on that Charger side. And don't forget, 49ers used to struggle at home. And this is the perfect spot, usually right this time of year, that they lay that egg. We bought the hook, took them down to 6.5. Hopefully, a fresh, rejuvenated offensive line, CMC knowing more of the playbook, hoping Debo is ready. I think this is where the Niners take that step. I'm not buying the chalk in the Eagles. If you told me pick one team to win the NFC, I'd put my hat on the 49ers. I think they're built for success. I love the coach. I'd like to see that defense mold into shape here. We took them minus the 6.5. Real excited to see what this team does off of the break. Listen, I think Herbert and company are dangerous here. I do, but I'm going to take the home cooking here with the Niners and the Rice-A-Roni train, and we're going to go Niners go, Niners go.
All right. I like what I hear with that. All right, so let's go ahead and jump into our next game. This is going to be another really good one, and it's going to be some Monday Night Football. You ready for a party? We got Dan and Dan and Dan and Dan and Dan. And so, all the people that they've had, you know what I mean? So that's why I kind of mumbled that a little bit. But you got a good matchup here, though. Commanders and Eagles, Jeff. It's always hard to say Commanders, too. Like, who the hell is that? You know what I mean? But it's it's the team formerly known as the Redskins, y'all. So they're 4-5 coming into this game. They've won their last 3 out of 4 as well, too. Could have won last week, but they came up short. So I truly do think that here that you got an 11-point spread. Dun, 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 dun. You remember a few years ago, this team came in there, what was it, plus 15 or something like that, Jeff, and beat the Steelers. Didn't cover, they beat them. So this is a danger spot because that was in the state of Pennsylvania as well, too. And this is a divisional game. I'm not saying that the Commanders win this game, but I do believe in Heineke. I'm going to be dead honest with you. I believe in Heineke. And I think that Heineke could have himself a nice little game like he's had before against the Eagles because they are very even over the last 10 matchups. We both know this. So this is a trap game, as I would like to say. So I'm going to go ahead and take the Commanders with the +11.
I followed your lead here. I don't know what to expect. Another team coming off the bye, a team off of a perfect record right now. Get to sit in there, get to sit back and enjoy and listening to everyone talk about the undefeated Philadelphia Eagles, Jalen Hurts MVP. Watch their Phillies and the city unite. Great run for them. Come up just a tad short against the Astros, who we picked in July. Was part of our Champions ticket, so hats off to the Astros there. I think that the points are too much. Again, if they pull a Kirk Cousins here, though, that's the problem. Where a Minnesota team came in here on that Monday night, played an okay first half, got blown out in the second half here. A defense, especially on prime time, that's going to have their ears pinned back. And if this is Heineke running for his life, throwing pick sixes, it's going to be an ugly, ugly game. We took the points, Pops. We followed your lead. And over, what did we say it was? 44. So we need the Commanders to get to that 14 or 17 point mark to cover this spread. So win the turnover battle, get Gibson into play, get Robinson into play, McLaren, Samuel, and play a little keep away. And let's hope the Commanders +11 come home, Pops.
And my bold take of the week, Commanders win 20-17.
There you go.
That's been the key score for the upsets this year, 20-17. All right, so with that, that's going to be a wrap on another great show with my main man, the Don of Cape Cod himself, Mr. Jeff Dawson. And I'm your host, Pop DiBiase, the Primetime Kappa. And you guys can follow me on the Twitter at Pop DiBiase. And you guys can also follow the Prime Wave Media Group page as well too. Jeff, go ahead and give them your handles, and we'll go ahead and wrap this thing up.
On Twitter, as Pop says, at EC Sports Invest. You can go to our website at www.eastcoastsportsinvestors.com. Send us an email at eastcoastsportsinvestors@gmail.com. It's always a pleasure, Pops, to be here. We are the true OGs of this. I've been on Twitter for over 10, 12 years. Same with Pops. We've been doing this same face, same brand, same name. Nothing changes. We win, grin, and profit. No I in family, Pops. Just win, grin, and profit. And blessed to be a part of you. And we'll be here 2022, 2023, 2029, 30s, you name it, we'll be here.
Right. Man, we just going to keep going, keep flowing. So it is what it is at the end of the day. I really do appreciate you, Jeff, as always. As I always say, bet with your head, not with your heart. We'll be back. We'll be back next week, Tuesday, 10 p.m., 10:30, whatever. You better be here in the a.m. and in the afternoon. So there it is. There it is. This is the NFL Bet Exchange, and I bid I do. And you guys have a beautiful day and a beautiful week as well, too. We on. All right.
Thank you for tuning in to the NFL Bet Exchange, where the sharpest bet